Welcome to the Explainer. If you're writing automation tests, your script is really only as good as its ability to actually find and interact with the elements on a page. Today, we're cracking open the Master Craftsman's Toolbox for QA automation. We are going to look at the definitive guide to mastering Selenium Locators. It's all about choosing the absolute perfect tool for the job so you can make your tests fast, reliable, and honestly, unbreakable. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer. We've got 5 main areas to hit today. First, what are Selenium locators? Then, the basic locator tools. From there, we escalate to mastering CSS selectors, unlocking powerful XPath, and finally, wrap up with pro tips and priorities.
Right into section 1. What are Selenium locators?
So think of a web page like a massive, sprawling city map, right? And your automation script is a delivery driver looking for a very specific house. Well, a locator is simply the exact address. It tells Selenium precisely where an element lives on the web page. Without it, Selenium is completely blind. It's exactly like trying to find a friend's house in a brand new city without a GPS. You know they're in there somewhere, but you have literally no way to reach them. And here is what that actually looks like in code. You've got driver.findElement, and then, in parentheses, by.id username. This one single line of code is the ultimate bridge between your testing script and the UI elements on the screen. It's literally how your code reaches out and touches the application.
Moving right along to section 2, the basic locator tools.
Now, these are the super reliable hand tools of your testing kit. First up, the ID locator. It acts as a specific home address. It's fast, it's easy to maintain, and usually it's completely unique to that element. But a quick warning, if the app generates dynamic IDs that just change every single time the page loads, this tool breaks instantly. Then we have the name locator. It's super readable, but you gotta be careful here too. Web developers will often give multiple elements the exact same name, meaning Selenium might just grab the wrong element entirely. Rounding out the basics, we've got class name and tag name. So the crucial point is, while these are absolutely fantastic for bulk actions, like using tag name to get a count of all the links, images, or tables on a page, they usually lack the uniqueness you need for actually clicking a specific single button. Classes are literally meant to be shared across tons of elements, so they aren't your best bet for a precise click. And this brings up a classic conflict in modern web development: link text versus partial link text. Imagine you target the exact word login. Tomorrow, marketing comes in and decides to change that button to say, sign in. Boom, your exact link text test completely fails. But partial link text can actually save the day here. If you've got a massive string of text, like click here to register now, you can just target the word register. Even if the rest of the sentence changes later, your test still passes. Pretty neat, right? All right, section 3, mastering CSS selectors. Okay, we are officially leaving the simple hand tools behind. The syntax of CSS is just incredibly elegant. It uses simple, intuitive symbols to precisely target elements. To find an ID, you just use a hashtag, like hashtag username. For a class, you use a dot, like .userfield. And if you need to be ultra specific, you can actually string multiple attributes together inside brackets. It's clean, it's readable, and it is highly effective. But you know what? CSS gets even better with advanced matching. You can use an asterisk for contains, a caret symbol for starts with, and a $sign for ends with. These symbols are your absolute first line of defense against dynamic web pages. Seriously, if an ID is randomly generated but always starts with the word user, slapping that caret symbol in there ensures your test finds it every single time, completely ignoring the random numbers tacked on the end. On to section 4, unlocking powerful XPath. Okay, time to bring out the heavy artillery. But before we get into its sheer power, I absolutely have to issue a strict warning about absolute XPath. It maps the journey from the absolute root of the HTML. Never use this. No way. If a developer adds a single new div anywhere in that chain, your test shatters. Instead, always champion relative XPath. By using the double slash, it jumps straight to the element no matter where it lives on the page. This right here is the industry recommended standard for sure. Now, what's really interesting about this syntax is the formula itself. For relative XPath, it's simple. Double slash, tag name, open bracket, @ symbol, attribute equals value. But its true power is in combination. You can actually string multiple attributes together using the word and. This gives you pinpoint laser accuracy, guaranteeing Selenium grabs exactly the input field you want and absolutely nothing else.
When handling dynamic elements, look at this. Hard-coding a dynamic number like 56789 absolutely guarantees a broken test on your very next run, because that number is definitely going to change. Instead, you want to use the XPath functions contains or starts with. It instantly makes your test resilient and adaptable to the application's constantly changing data.
Let's just slow down for a second and appreciate these XPath superpowers. CSS is great and all, but XPath can do things CSS simply cannot. Specifically, XPath can traverse up the DOM. Look at the parent and ancestor functions. You can find a child element and then literally tell XPath to climb backwards up the HTML tree to find its parent container. You can look at siblings, you can match by inner text. It gives you ultimate navigational freedom on even the most complex, messy web pages.
All right, bringing it all home with Section 5, Pro Tips and Priorities.
Okay, this is the exact hierarchy QA automation engineers live and breathe by in real projects. Priority 1 is always ID. If you don't have it, go to name. If that's no good, build a CSS selector. If things get really complex, use XPath. Only fall back to class name, link text, or tag name when absolutely necessary. Now let's test your knowledge with a very common technical interview question. Out of all these tools we just covered, which locator is actually the fastest?
And this brilliantly illustrates our point. The undeniable speed champion is the ID. Why? Because browsers are natively highly optimized to look up IDs. Name comes next, followed by CSS. While XPath is incredibly powerful and flexible, it trades off that power for a slight dip in execution speed, because the browser actually has to parse the entire XML structure to find the path.
So, when choosing between your power tools, it really comes down to this. You choose CSS for its sheer speed, cleaner syntax, and better readability. It's going to be your daily workhorse. But the moment you need to do complex parent traversals, specific text matching, or handle incredibly tricky dynamic elements, well, that's when you bring in the heavy artillery, XPath. So I want to leave you with this provocative question to think about. Are your tests brittle, constantly breaking every time the UI gets a tiny, minor update? Or are you a master craftsman, using the exact right locator tool for the job? I highly encourage you to audit your own test suites today. Apply this hierarchy, swap out those fragile absolute XPaths for resilient CSS or relative XPaths, and start writing truly unbreakable automation. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and keep learning.